friends, it's Mimi here today, and I'm so happy to be here today because today I'm going to be talking to you about how to be happy. This is a very frequently asked question. People always ask me, how do I stay happy? How do I stay positive? And I thought actually last night I felt really compelled to make this video finally because it's been going on in my head, and I just took my phone, made a whole bunch of notes, just kind of analyzing and observing my own habits, what I've been doing throughout the last few years, and how I got to be so emotionally balanced. Now, the truth is, I'm not always happy. I experience all kinds of emotions, and quite frankly, 5 years ago, I actually experienced depression and anxiety. Now, I'm saying this smiling, but it wasn't fun and smiley 5 years ago. I really experienced major anxiety, panic attacks, and depression, and everything that I'll be sharing with you today is actually what helped me get out of that rut and got the energy back and make me feel more emotionally balanced. So everything I will be sharing with you today is actually things that I use daily that help me stay balanced, happy, and positive. Alright, number one, actually I'm not going to number these things because I have a long list. One of the most important things that I always keep in mind for myself is that happiness is truly a choice of my attitude. So every day when I wake up, I make a choice. Am I going to be happy today or am I going to be miserable today? And I became aware of this, I remember when I was working two jobs, and I was going to school, so sort of like 3 jobs. So I remember I was going from my bank job to my serving job at a restaurant and then going to school. I was just so tired, and I just remember catching myself always complaining in my own head, like having this like negative self-talk. Oh, I'm so tired of this. I'm just always complaining. And I caught myself and I realized I was just really poisoning myself from the inside. I wasn't enjoying this. I'm sure other people weren't enjoying my negative emotions and this attitude. And I just promised myself in that moment that I will stop doing that. Sometimes you just have this shift inside of you, and I felt, you know what, if I change this attitude, I should just be grateful because I've asked to have jobs in the first place so I can help my parents, so I can make money and I can have things, so I can travel. So I shouldn't be complaining. I have 2 jobs and I'm going to school because it's my own choices that I've made. So what's the point of complaining and being negative about it? And in that moment, I made a choice to just be positive and be grateful. So I shifted my negative victimhood into happiness and gratefulness. I know it sounds simple, but in reality, when I became aware of it and when I made that shift, my whole reality changed. And every time, I'm not saying like, okay, and I was perfect from that moment on. Of course, I still went in my negative circles sometimes, negative pattern thinking circles, but every time I would catch myself and I would shift myself back to just feeling grateful for what was happening instead of feeling miserable or as a victim. Even now, it's been many years after that experience, I always remind myself, and every day when I wake up, I just know I'm putting on a mask. What mask am I gonna put on? Am I gonna put on a happy mask? Sometimes it's easier than others. Sometimes it's really hard to put a happy mask. I know, trust me, but I still choose to put it because it just makes life more exciting when I have a smile on my face. I feel better about what I have, even about the challenges that I may be facing that day. So this is number one thing that I do, is just every day when I wake up, I make a choice to be happy because it truly is a choice of an attitude. Another thing that I do is I surround myself with happy people. You know how they say you're the average of your 5 friends? Well, that's truth. If you look around, just look at your friends and then look at yourself. You'll see that it's actually the truth. It's gonna happen to you. Even if you're the most happy, positive person, if you have negative friends, if you have downers in your life, what's gonna happen, whether you want it or not, they're gonna bring you down because they suck the energy out of you. I know this from personal experience. I had quite a lot of negative people around me, but what I've chosen to do throughout life is eliminate this friendships. It's better to be alone, in my opinion, than to be surrounded with negative people that don't bring anything into your life. And now I just make a choice to surround myself with happy people, uplifting people, because I look at it this way. I am a good friend. When I'm out with my friends, I try to uplift them. I try to challenge them. I try to make them grow and make them feel good. And I want the same in return. Therefore, I think it's only fair if the feeling is mutual. And if you don't have positive friends in your life, you'll have to challenge yourself to make new friends. Go out, meet new people. If you see somebody is making you feel good, ask them for their number, ask them for their email, Facebook, whatever, just to make a contact and begin a friendship. Invest in this new friendship. Another thing you could do is also start reading really positive books. Perhaps you can't meet these people in real life. You want Tony Robbins to be your mentor, or Richard Branson, or for example, you want to be friends with me. Well, we live on the other sides of the world, but what you can do is actually watch these people or read their books or read their blogs. So surround yourself, not maybe physically, but even virtually, with this positive people, with this positive energy. And what you do is you create this positive, happy bubble, and nothing can get through. Even if they try, they can't get through this, okay? So yeah, that's what I do. Another thing I do to stay happy is I don't watch the news ever. Yes, like ever. And some people say it's ignorant not to watch the news, but I'll tell you this. If something important happens in the world, trust me, you will find out. The plane crashes, I find out through Instagram or Facebook. The war starts in Russia and Ukraine. You don't need to watch the news to find out what's happening in the world. What I'm trying to say here, the news are this never-ending feed of negativity. It just never stops. Why would you want to watch that? Unless you're gonna actively do about everything you hear in the news, I say stay away from the news. Another thing I want to mention is that I've actually gone through a lot of really bad stuff in my life, and that's why I want to stay away from the news. When I was about 6 years old, I was in a war. I'll just shortly tell you. I don't want to tell you my whole life story, but I'm not trying to pretend the world is perfect and everything is great. I know the reality, trust me. I've lived through it, maybe more than you have. When I was 6, USSR army came into my city and they started literally killing people on the streets, and it was horrific. Then I also went through a crazy earthquake. I've gone through stuff in my life. That's why I'm saying stay away from the news. If you want to stay sane and happy, surround yourself with positive people and stop watching the news or reading newspaper. The next thing I do to stay happy and positive is I meditate. If you're gonna take anything from my video, please take this, because I honestly think this is one thing that makes the biggest difference in my life. That's what helps me to stay grounded. That's what helps me to stay more motivated, energetic, and kind of clears the brain fog, and also helps me stay focused. So I'm also more productive because I meditate. Now, I'm not gonna make this video about meditation, but what I'll tell you is that I practice Vipassana Meditation. Maybe one day I can make a video about it, I don't know, but research and find out what meditation works for you. There's many different kinds. This is what works for me, and I would recommend it definitely. Now, meditation is actually now scientifically proven to heal human beings, okay? So this is not just some woo-woo magic thing happening. This is an actual thing that works. I always felt that meditation worked because I just felt better after I did it, but recently I actually got a scientific proof, and I'll tell you a little story. I recently went to a holistic doctor. He got me to wear this heart monitor to check my pulse throughout the day. So I went to see the results. I sat down with him and he's like, your pulse is quite fast, your heartbeat is quite fast. So he went through the day, okay, here's you going to work, this is you walking, this is you at work, this is you going to the concert, this is you coming home, this is you cooking, baking, sleeping, and then he looked at it. What did you do when you just wake up? I see this 10 minutes. Your heart rate is really slow. What did you do? And I thought to myself for a second, oh, I was meditating. He's like, wow, your heart rate was slower than when you were sleeping. If you want evidence, this is it. What happens though is you want to have slower heart rate, or you want your heart to beat a bit slower if it's beating fast. Because when your heartbeat is slower, it's called a parasympathetic activity. That's how he explained it to me. So when you're sleeping, you're healing. So when you're meditating, you're also healing. And in my case, my heartbeat was actually faster when I was sleeping than when I was meditating. So meditation for me was even more powerful than sleep. And he said, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. And that's not the only evidence to show that meditation works. I know now that there's many doctors and many hospitals that use meditation on cancer patients, on mental patients. It's out there. This information is out there. And now scientists and doctors are using meditation to heal people. Now, I have to tell you, meditation is not actually easy or relaxing. It's hard work. It's actually the hardest thing you'll ever have to do. You have to sit down with your heartbeat or with your breath and just do nothing and just observe it. It's not easy. It's really hard. All kinds of stuff starts coming out. However, people will give you tools and you have to actually practice them. You have to work your own salvation. Nobody's gonna do this for you. If you want to be happy, you have to work at it. Sometimes you have to really clear all the negativeness that maybe the conditioning that your parents gave you, maybe past lives, who knows? Nobody knows. Life truly is a mystery. But you have to really heal yourself. If you're in pain, if you're not happy, you have to really help yourself. How you do that, of course, is up to you. Now, I'm telling you here, meditation definitely works. Research and look into it and really use it if you can. It's funny because I was recently talking to a friend and he was telling me that he wants a change, he wants to feel more positive, and I told him you have to start meditating. And he's like, how often do I have to do it? And I'm like, twice a day. You have to do this at least twice a day, maybe once a day. And he thought for a second and he said, well, that's not for me. I just want something quick that's gonna give me a shift. There's no magic pill. That's the thing. And that's most people out there want this magic pill that they're just gonna take and they're gonna feel happy and good and everything is gonna be great. Well, the reality is if you want sustainable results, you're gonna have to do something consistently. Just like if you want to look fit, you have to work out every single day. If you want to see results mentally, emotionally, you also have to do something every single day which will keep the energy clear and keep your mind clear. And meditation is definitely that. Another thing that I do to keep myself happy and positive is my 5-minute journal. This is something I've been doing actually now for 3-4 years. I've started to do this without the journal at first, and then Alex actually created this as a physical journal. And what this is, the best way to explain this is like the toothbrush for the mind. You know, we brush our teeth to keep them clean and healthy, but we don't brush our minds to keep our mind clean and healthy and positive. So this works the same way. It sort of conditions you to focus on the positive twice in the day, and it literally just takes 5 minutes a day. That's why I love this journal so much. So you take 2.5 minutes in the morning when you just wake up, when you're still in that dreamy state. There's certain questions. I'm not going to go into too many details, but if you're interested, you can just go on the website, and you actually don't need to buy the journal. All the information that's in the journal is available, so you can make your own. Or if you're like me and you like to have a structure, then you can also get the journal. It has questions like, what am I grateful for? Or also reflection at the end of the day. What are the amazing things that happen? So all these things are kind of conditioning you every single day to focus on the positive, because at the end of the day sometimes we'll think of, oh well, this day just passed by and I don't know, I didn't get my dream job, or I didn't do this amazing thing. Even though the amazing thing didn't happen, there's still amazing things that happen, maybe smaller amazing things. So this definitely helps to keep the mind positive and happy, and I definitely know it has greatly impacted my happiness levels. Another quick thing that I do to make me happy is I hug people. Hugging people feels so good. It's actually proven that we need to hug at least 5 people a day. And when you hug, you actually don't like hug fast. You have to hold the person. And as you're holding the person, this exchange of emotion happens, and it actually gives you these happy brain chemicals are working and making you happier. So hug as many people as you can. I definitely try to hug. I'm a very touchy person. So if I can get someone in my hands, I give them a hug, and it always makes me feel better. Another thing I do to stay happy is I actually practice expressing my love for other people, because I truly believe that we all have this big well of love inside of us. However, if we don't know how to express it towards others, it's like being a wealthy person who is stingy. To me, that person is poor. So if you have love, which we all do, and you don't practice giving it, you can never experience the joys of giving. And truly, I think is the biggest joy, and I'm getting emotional here, but it truly is the biggest joy I ever experience, is when I do something nice, unconditional for other people. And that can be something like, I had a friend who has a small baby, so just going to her and cooking for her and just making her evening so she can relax a little bit. So just doing random acts of kindness unconditionally towards other people, going out of your way to help somebody, it's the greatest joy you'll ever experience. Just practice it and you will see you're actually wealthy, and you have this well of joy, love, and happiness already inside of you. Just practice it so you can see it's there. Otherwise, you'll be the beggar, the poor beggar, maybe the wealthy person who feels like a beggar. There's lots of them out there. So practice it, because this is definitely one of the ways to get yourself out of the gut and get yourself in a great space emotionally. Now, another thing I've learned to do, and this is probably in the last 2-3 years, is I'm learning to be okay with not always being happy. It's actually quite a North American thing to do, is to expect people to always be happy. I grew up in Azerbaijan and people weren't always happy, and that was fine. And I actually never heard of depression or anxiety until I moved to North America. I never knew about this term, and it's so funny because it's not like people are not depressed or anxious there. It's just people look at it differently. They just think it's normal and it will pass. It's not a big deal. They just don't make a big deal out of it. Another thing, if you're feeling unhappy, I think it's very important that you don't keep it inside. You don't resent these feelings and sort of bottle them up. If you're feeling unhappy, there is a reason why you're feeling unhappy. Maybe you need to change something. Usually we feel unhappy when our body is trying to give us a signal to change something. So maybe you need to change your diet. Maybe you need to change your job. Maybe you need to change your relationship. Maybe you need to change your friendships. Maybe you need to move somewhere else. I don't know what it is for you. For me, I know when I'm unhappy, it's my body trying to tell me to change something. And usually it's something like lifestyle choices. Maybe I need to relax more. Maybe I need to have fun more and just be a bit more easygoing. I tend to be a bit more serious and working nonstop, even though it might not look like that on my Instagram, but I am very serious. A lot of time I'm just working on the computer. So when my body is giving me signals, I know, okay, I need to do something. I need to change things up. Also, like I said, it's very important to share things with other people, because I think when you share things, you realize as you're talking, it's not that bad actually. You think in your head like this is such a big deal. You make such a big deal out of all these emotions, but once you talk to someone, usually your friend or your family member or anyone you can find to talk to, will tell you they experience the same emotions and it's okay. You will be fine. It's just an emotion. Just like happiness is a fleeting moment, so is misery. If you're unhappy, it will also pass. I know it sounds so easy, and in reality sometimes it's not, but just understanding that will make you feel better in the moment. You know, this too shall pass. Anytime I feel negative, anytime I feel just maybe anxious or just feel down, I just remind myself, it's okay. This is just an emotional state. It will pass. However, I do take it seriously at the same time. So if this is a state that keeps happening, that means I need to change something in my life. And you just have to become more aware and observant about your life choices, your habits, and just look into that more. And last but not least, in order to be happy, one needs to have a purpose. Now, a purpose can be anything. For me, having a purpose is making these videos, is having my Instagram account and posting pictures there, is having blog posts that I post for you guys, doing a combination of things that I do for myself because I enjoy them, and for you guys because I know you enjoy them and you give me so much positive feedback back, is part of my purpose. Now, I'm working on other exciting projects, and that also is part of my purpose and a bigger goal. So in order to be a happy person, you have to set goals for yourself, and they have to be challenging. They have to make you and push you outside of your comfort zone, because when you grow, you feel happy. You know, they say if you don't grow, you die, and that is so true. I constantly push myself outside of my comfort zone and do things that I'm extremely terrified of, and I suggest you do the same. If you want to be happy, you gotta get outside of this comfort zone. You gotta go towards your dreams, whatever that dream is. Maybe you want to be a vet, maybe you want to be a hairstylist, maybe you want to have your own business, maybe you just want to be a teacher and have a regular job. It doesn't matter what it is you want to do. Your purpose is your life. It's perfect the way it is. So believe in your purpose, go for it, because having a goal is really one thing that's also going to help you get out of the rut. I remember reading this book a few years ago by Viktor Frankl, and the book is called Man's Search for Meaning. It's a great book. I definitely recommend reading it. And the book is about Viktor, who survived Holocaust, and he actually came out of Holocaust, this horrific experience, a better, more compassionate, loving human being. It's just an incredible book. But what he says in this book is that you need to have a purpose. In order to survive, you need a purpose, and without purpose, people perish. I'm just gonna end this video with that. I truly believe that these tips that I'm using can help you as well, so start practicing them. Start just with one thing and slowly integrate more and more of these tools in your life. Thank you so much for watching. I send you lots of love and happiness, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Please make sure to share this video with all the people you want to see happy, and make sure to thumbs up down below. Thank you so much, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!